Hello everybody and welcome back to day 15 of Everyday October. In today's video I am testing out the Nude Matte £9 palette from Beauty Bay. I don't have anything like this in my collection, so we're going to get into all the swatches and I'm going to show you through how I created this very basic warm brown smoky eye. So if you want to see all of the other products that I use as well, I'm going to talk you through all of those, then just keep on watching. So I said in a video, I think it was last month, yes, it was when I was filming my updated wedding makeup, I said in that video I don't have a really good neutral brown eyeshadow palette. I have eyeshadow palettes that have browns in them, but they are predominantly like a green eyeshadow palette or a pink eyeshadow palette. I don't have one that just has all of the shades of brown. To make a standard brown smoky eye, I don't have a palette that has all of that scope in it. So that's why I picked this up. That's the little backstory. This is the 9-pan Nude Matte eyeshadow palette from Beauty Bay. I am a little bit obsessed with these 9-pan palettes from Beauty Bay. I have all of the other ones I have here stacked up. I have a whole playlist testing out Beauty Bay eyeshadow palettes. So last week I tested the Fiery palette, and it is a brown eyeshadow palette, but it leans more orangey. It's got those fiery orange tones in it. So this is much more of a neutral palette. It has warm tones in it, like that middle shade is still very much a warm brown, but there are also cool browns and neutral and light to dark and all of the shades that you would need to do a brown smoky eye. And I am going to swatch all of these for you now, and then I'm going to do some sort of standard basic smoky eye. So this is what all of the colours look like swatched. Just for reference, I did swatch all of these twice to build up the intensity of the pigment, but let's start from this end. So this shade at the end here that is barely even noticeable, pretty much the same colour as my skin tone, this is Nothing Else. Then we have Bare Necessity, Raw Sienna, Cinnamon, Throwback, which is a really beautiful deep warm brown. That one is so pretty, it matches my nails almost. Then we have Slow Motion, After Dark, Throw Shade, which is almost like a bluey grey tone. That's a really interesting shade to have in a brown eyeshadow palette. And then we have Illicit, which is a really intense inky black shade. I can imagine that one being a really great shade for doing a winged liner. But the colour story of this is so interesting. So any of these three I could use on my skin tone to blend out any other shade. Obviously that Nothing Else shade is pretty much my skin tone, but the other two are just slightly deeper. So Bare Necessity is almost a little bit yellower, whereas Raw Sienna is a little bit pinker. So depending on what vibe you're going for, you can either blend it out with a contrasting or a complementary transition shade. Then Cinnamon is an interesting, almost, it's giving me a little bit like gunmetal, but in a brown. It's a really interesting shade. Throwback, obviously a beautiful warm brown. Slow Motion is very cool toned, but still brown, it's different still to the greys. And After Dark, I would say more of a grey tone. It's almost like a denim-y grey. So compared to Slow Motion, they are quite different, but I could see those two sort of being interchangeable. And Throw Shade, I'm really interested in that shade as well. That's like a true, almost silver, it's grey and it is a matte shade, but I just feel like it's got a really interesting undertone to it. So let's do the rest of the face and decide which shades we want to use. So obviously there's only so many looks that you can do with a palette like this. Like, it's going to be probably some sort of brown smoky eye. Obviously you could just use one shade, and I did do a look like that last week where I just did like a one shade all over the lid and it was like a cool brown eye look. And I do have another one in my head similar to that but more glam, with like a really interesting pop of like a bright colour on the inner corner. So let me know if you want to see that. But just using this palette, obviously you are quite limited, but I feel like since I don't have a palette like this in my collection, I'm really going to get a lot of use out of this. So all of that to say, I'm just going to be doing quite an everyday look. I'm going to start with the L'Oreal Age Perfect BB cover, but I'm just going to blend this out with a sponge. So you can see how like glowy and natural this looks. I'm absolutely obsessed with this. So I'm going in with the Collection Lasting Perfection concealer because I want the eyes to be quite a lot brighter than the rest of the face. So this is in the shade 4 Extra Fair, and I'm just going to pop some of that on the inner corner, and I'm going to blend this out with my sponge. I don't normally blend out concealer with my sponge. I normally use a brush, but let's try something new today. So that is those all blended out, and I'm happy with how that looks. So I'm just going to set it down a little bit with the Revolution Pro Hydra Matte Setting Powder. This is a loose powder, so I like to be quite careful with it, but I just want to set this in so that it doesn't look too greasy. I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Matte Bronzer just to warm up the face a little bit, and then we will decide what we want to do with the eye. I'm wondering if I want to do that technique that I'm sure literally everybody has seen online, where you use like a flat brush and you apply like dark to light in the inner corner like stripes, and then you blend it together. I might just do something like that just to make something quite simple and like still with that gradient. I don't know. See where the day takes us by the time I get to that point. So before we get into the eyes, I'm just going to do the eyebrows quickly. So I'm using the XX Revolution Faux Brow and the e.l.f. Wow Brow, so I will be back when I've got some brows on my head. So I think I'm going to do that like striping technique. So I've got a flat small eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to go in with Raw Sienna. I'm going to go in with that shade first, and I'm going to lay that in the first like third. I think I'm going to do 3 shades. I think I'm going to do Raw Sienna, Throwback, and After Dark, so like going across ways, because they seem like quite warm and like they would sort of blend into each other quite nicely. I don't know, let's wait and see. We're just exploring. We're exploring together. Hopefully you can see a bit better now. Not that I'm doing anything groundbreaking, but hi, welcome. So that's the Raw Sienna shade. Then I'm going to go in with Throwback, which is darker and much warmer as well, and I'm going to tap that over the centre. Ooh, that is so pretty. And again, just packing that on, getting loads of pigment, loads of colour on, not worrying about blending just yet. And then going into this shade on the bottom corner called After Dark, and I'm packing that on the outer corner. So then going in with a clean shader brush and dipping into that first shade, the Raw Sienna, and I'm going to just start buffing over this inner corner here, just on that lightest shade, and then with a little bit more of that Raw Sienna shade on the brush, I'm just going to start tapping over where those two join, and then I'm going to start blending out this top of the middle shade, the Throwback shade. Start blending that out and just work my way along and make sure everything is blended. It looks a little bit crazy, but we'll make it work. And then, as if by magic, we have a warm brown smoky eye, everybody. I'm not going to lie to you, that did just take me a lot longer than expected to get all blended out. Purely user error. In case you're new around here, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I am just figuring this out as I go along. So I'm going to put on some mascara, probably some nude eyeliner in the waterline to make it look less like I'm poorly, and then we'll be back to finish off the rest of the face. So the eyeliner that I just used in the waterline is the Rimmel Scandalise Waterproof Eyeliner in Nude, and then I went in with this, which I just found in my drawer and I don't remember buying, but this is the Maybelline Go Colossal Extreme Mascara, and I really like how that looks. Who'd have thought a warm brown smoky eye for autumn? Groundbreaking. Anyway, I'm going in with a bit of blush. This is the e.l.f. Putty Blush in the shade Tahiti. I'm just going to add a little bit of this to the face. Also, if you think the lighting has changed like 7 million times throughout this video, you're not wrong. You're not going crazy. I'm desperately trying to like keep the light the same as the sun goes down, but we're going with it. So I know that this is a matte smoky eye, but I need an inner corner, okay? So this is the Revolution Soph highlighter palette, and I'm just going into the lightest shade. I'm just going to tap that over the inner corner to brighten all of that up. And then obviously, because this is very matte, like I don't even have a highlighter on my face, it's just like the reflection from the putty blush. I'm going in with a gloss. So this is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade 006 Reef, and this is like a neutrally sort of pink tone, so I just want a little bit of this. Oh yeah, and that is me done. A warm brown smoky eye for autumn, who'd have thought it? But considering this is such a basic, I feel like I don't have anything like this in my collection. Like the tones are just so, like that throwback shade in the middle, so unique, so warm, so rich. I really see myself using this so much. So if you want to see more Beauty Bay testing videos, like I say, I have a whole playlist. I will link it up in the cards and in the description box down below. So if you want to see that, you can check that out there. I have posted 15 videos so far this October. So if you want to see those, again, there is a playlist. I will link that down below as well. If you want to see the rest of the month of October, I am posting a new video every single day, so you can subscribe and you'll get notified every time I post one of those. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!